It was a chilly Friday evening in the heart of Brooksville, a town densely packed with remnants of old legends and tales, whispered between friends during sleepovers. Among these legends, the most infamous was that of the Whistler, a ghostly figure that supposedly haunted the shadows of Bramble Park. Inside the town's numerous cafes and high school hallways, students traded hushed stories about how the Whistler could lure unsuspecting souls with a haunting melody, only to vanish, leaving them lost forever. Lila was not one to buy into such stories. A skeptic by nature, she scoffed at her friends' tales of the Whistler. "It's just a story to frighten kids," she would say, rolling her eyes. However, deep down, as Halloween approached, a part of her wanted to explore what the darkened park had to offer. So, when her friends, Jared and Mia, proposed a night adventure to Bramble Park, she reluctantly agreed. The trio set out on Halloween night, the air crisp and electrified with excitement. With lanterns in hand, they wandered through town until they reached the park gates, which creaked ominously as they pushed them open. The moon was a waning crescent, casting an eerie glow through the overhanging branches. Mia giggled, suddenly feeling brave and bold. "Let's split up, just for a bit. It'll be fun," she exclaimed. Lila hesitated but eventually rolled her eyes again, pointing out that sticking together felt safer. However, Jared shouted, "You know that's how urban legends begin. We must split. If we don't, nothing will happen." With nervous laughter, they dispersed into the depths of the park, each carrying their lantern, light flickering like their courage. Lila walked further along a winding path lined with old oaks, the beauty of the rustling leaves below her feet beginning to vanish as the shadows thickened. She could feel the weight of the silence enveloping her, her breath visible in the cool air. Suddenly, of all things, she heard it, the unmistakable sound of a whistle slicing through the night. She froze, her heart pounding in her chest. "Just the wind," she muttered, convincing herself. Yet, curiosity mingled with fear drew her toward the source. As she moved forward, darker memories of the stories she dismissed came flooding back. "Your reflection in the water will be your last. The melancholy tune will promise you bliss, but lead you to despair." Each step she took seemed to resonate with the whistle, the very melody wrapping around her with an almost seducing quality. "Guys, this isn't funny," she called out, her voice cracking slightly as she turned, believing her friends were playing a prank. Nothing returned but the haunting tune, which seemed to grow louder, echoing down the twisting path as if mocking her disbelief. She picked up her pace but couldn't shake the sound. It filled her ears, taunting and beckoning her deeper into the park. Her lantern flickered dangerously, and she felt the whisper of the wind, woven with something darker, graze against her skin. Panic rising, she turned to navigate back, but the shadows elongated, twisting into ghastly forms around her. "Jared? Mia?" she yelled again, desperation clawing at her throat. Silence seized the park. As she stumbled through the dark, she felt eyes watching her from the trees, their gaze suffocating and unseen. The whistle played on, becoming more intense, and she felt as if it were pulling her toward a grand oak in the center clearing. Compelled against her will, she stepped forward, feeling something shift within the depths of the tree, its gnarled trunk seeming to breathe. Then, she saw it. A woman's figure cloaked in darkness, with eyes glowing like embers. A gloomy smile stretched thin across her pale face as she stood upon a bed of fallen leaves, shadows swirling around her feet. "Come closer," the whistler whispered. "You've waited for me, haven't you?" Lila instinctively took a step back, horrified, yet the melody began to play again, sweet and consuming. Images of endless ecstasy and freedom flickered through her mind as if bathed in warm light. "No," she shouted, forcing herself to break free from the spell that gripped her heart. The whistler's expression darkened, anger flaring through her eyes. "You cannot resist. The song calls to you." With every ounce of bravery she could muster, Lila turned and fled, crashing through the undergrowth until she stumbled back to the park's entrance. The whistle dampened, fading into a bitter silence. She crumpled against the gate, gasping for breath, her lantern dimming. Shouts echoed in the distance, and as Jared and Mia reappeared, their faces marked with worry, Lila quickly pulled them into the light of the street lamp. "We need to leave. The whistler, it's real," she gasped, the horrifying echo of that melody still ringing in her ears. They left the park together, though Lila noticed Jared checking over his shoulder, unease lingering in his expression. The veil of Halloween night wrapped around them like a shroud, but as they reached the town's edge, the distant whistle floated back to her, tainted with laughter. It burrowed deeper, becoming a fear that would haunt Lila every Halloween, reminding her that some legends aren't just tales. Some arise from shadows, waiting for the curious to wander too close.